After the dedications in South Dakota and Colorado, Kennedy spoke the next day, August 18, 1962, at Los Banos, California, upon dedicating the San Luis Dam Project, a crucial part of the California State Water Project. Here, he continues to emphasize the economic principle of constantly acting toward the next higher step of growth in order to move ahead in the present. How Western water development shows man's ability to willfully determine his own conditions, rather than being subject to chance, and which should be the obvious role of government in general. Here at Los Banos, the impact which the growth of California water development has on improving the power of the nation's economy as a whole is made.
Udall, Secretary of the Interior.
There's an old saying in the West, Mr. President, that there's no fight like a water fight. And there has been, and it was a running fight, and a bitter one at times, in the state of California. A water fight for many years, and it took real statesmanship and real leadership to meet this point of culmination today. But this is a high point, I think, in the history of California, that you have overcome sectionalism, you have overcome the divisions that were preventing development and growth. And as far as I'm concerned, looking over our nation, I think this great cooperative water effort puts California in a class by itself of all the 50 states. And I think, too, to be fair, it puts Pat Brown in a class by himself as the best water governor of all of our 50 governors. I'm very proud to present Congressman Bernie Siss.
My good friends, on behalf of the people of the great state of California, and particularly of the people of the 16th Congressional District, it is now my high honor and great privilege to present to you the President of the United States.
Congressman Siss, Congressman, my old friend and colleague in the Congress, Governor Brown, Senator Kiko, Senator Engel, Congressman Biz Johnson, Senator Richards, Mr. Brody, Mrs. O'Neill, Mr. Mayor, Secretary Udall, Undersecretary Carr, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure for me to come out here and help blow up this valley and the cause of progress. We are able to do anything in this occasion. I do want to say that this has been a comparatively short trip. To come all the way from the capital of our country in Washington yesterday morning, about 9 o'clock, and to fly and visit the largest earth roll dam in the world in Clear, South Dakota, to visit the beginning of a great new project, the Frying Pan, Arkansas, where they're going to take water from around 9,000 feet through a mountain and irrigate a whole valley below in eastern Colorado, and then to visit Yosemite National Park, which belongs to all of us, fortunately, and join 1,500,000 other Americans who will visit that park this year and follow in the footsteps of a distinguished predecessor who was the last president to visit there, President Theodore Roosevelt. This is a fast trip, but if it had no other benefit than to permit us to look at this valley and others like it across the country, where we can see the greenest and most richest earth producing the greatest and richest crops in the country, and then a mile away see the same earth and see it brown and dusty and useless, and all because there's water in one place and there isn't in another. I know of no better trip for any president or any member of the House or Senate or indeed any citizen, particularly those of us who live in the East, where water is everywhere and is a burden, to realize how very precious it is here in the western United States. And I'm also glad to come from Washington, where we are constantly struggling and seeing progress being made almost imperceptibly, to come and visit three areas, South Dakota, Colorado, and here, where progress is being made. And the important lesson in all of those projects is that progress isn't being made as a result of a sudden idea suddenly coming into fruition. This project, the Frying Pan, Arkansas, and the project in South Dakota represented 10, 20, and 30 years' effort of devoted citizens. Things do not happen, they are made to happen. And this project is the result, and our action today, of 30 years of men, some of whom have now died, who thought that this dam would help this valley. And the other point that I think has been most useful about this trip is to see how Americans can work together. We are a very independent people, 180 million, and it is hard for us to agree on any course of action. We always have some different ideas of how that course of action can be made more perfect. And yet in this case, one part of your state has been willing to help another part. In the case of Colorado, western Colorado has been willing to divide its water with eastern Colorado. In the case of this project and Colorado and South Dakota, the people from the eastern United States have been willing to invest their tax money in this part of the country because they realize that as this state does well, so does the United States. Nothing could be more disastrous for this country than for the citizens of one part of the state to feel that everything that they have is theirs, and it should not be shared with other citizens of this state. Or people from the East to say there's no benefit to us in spending our money to make this valley green. That is the way to stand still. And the way to move ahead is to realize that we are citizens of one country who can freely move from one state to another. And as one state does well, so do the others. And if one state stands still, so do all the rest. Progress represents the combined will of the American people. And only when they are joined together for action, instead of standing still and thinking that everything that had to be done has been done, it's only when they join together in a forward movement that this country moves ahead, and that we prepare the way for those who come after us, as Mr. O'Neill and others who made this project possible 20 years ago. They prepared the way for us. So I'm glad to come here, and I think it's a useful trip for any citizen and any president of the United States. And what this project also symbolizes is the state working with the federal government, the local communities working with the state. This program is unique in this area. There is no other project in the history of the United States where a state has put in such a large contribution to the development of its own resources and where the national government has joined with the state. This is a unique ceremony because this partnership is at the highest level. The amount of contribution of both is unique and special, and the benefits that will come from it are unique and special. And I think that those who took part in this and made it possible should feel the strongest sense of pride, because all those years when people in this state said it was impossible, and those who had water wanted to hug it and not make it available to all those who lived in dry areas. Many state administrations in California, including some of the most distinguished, wrestled with this problem. But I believe that all Californians will remember the leadership which your distinguished governor has given to this great cause of making water available to the people of this state, and I salute him for it. And the members of your congressional delegation who fought for this, and the members of the legislature, the House and the Senate here in California. This has brought your state to be the pioneer in the United States in the field of development and conservation of our natural resources. California in this area is number one. And it has helped make possible the San Luis Project, which joins all of us together as full and equal partners. In many ways, the growth problems and the conservation problems of California are the same kind of problems that our country faces. To come here from the eastern United States and to realize what a booming country this really is, it gives us new encouragement to consider what actions we can take in the 60s to make life easier for those who are coming in the 70s. This is our task in the simplest terms, to strengthen the United States of America. And I'm confident that here in California, which looks to the future and not to the past, that you understand that lesson well. And I hope from this great project will spread a renewed sense of commitment by all the American people so that this country in 1962 can continue to move forward. Thank you.
View behind you and across the valley.
Where does this blast?
Beyond that projection over there, Governor, and on the opposite one over here and across the valley here.
Everybody ready? You lead. Ready? 1, 2.
You now see a helicopter flying, dropping smoke, which will be at the height of the dam itself. That is the crest height.
The high water line.
Thank you.